Hi, everybody. Jack O'Malley with you for this Wednesday update. Checking in. Hope you're well. Got that pen out of my. Oh, I got two pens in my pocket there. This is the exciting part of filming these things, isn't it? Just checking in with you with the latest. First of all, I kind of want to apologize for Monday. I was frustrated Monday because there's so much stuff coming down, and there are so many people who are just so convinced that they are so absolutely correct. And, when you're dealing with a state of 10 million people, you have to realize, and when you're in an elected position, you come to realize it right away. There are a lot of people who think in different paths. And so, you might not necessarily agree with every path, but you have to respect what these people are saying. I'll give you an example. Unemployment. One of the things is, are we going to codify any of the unemployment executive orders? That's being discussed. Well, part of the problem with the unemployment is, I've heard from many, did I say many, businesses who can't find workers because folks are making so much money on unemployment, or they made so much money on unemployment that they can kind of coast a little bit. And so they're not in a hurry to get back. And so I know of one store that's closed because they just couldn't get anybody to work. So on one hand, you have to look at all the people that are on unemployment because their job isn't there anymore. Do we help them? But yet we've also got people who are just kicking back saying, well, I don't really need to go to work. But those are people that are now, in my opinion, if the job is there and you can work, you're just living off the public dole. Did you hear me there? There are people who need it, and then those who just like, well, I don't need to go back to work right now because I can collect unemployment and all's good. There's a difference. So that's an area that needs to be discussed. I've got some people saying, no, you got to keep this unemployment the way it's going. And then I've got others who say, if I don't get workers, I'm out of business. See what I'm saying? These are things that have to be weighed and discussed. But people are so firm in their rightness that this is a very tough situation. I blame most of this on one particular chief executive, because I'll go back and explain this to you one more time for those who haven't heard it. At the beginning of this, nobody knew what was coming. Everybody was slamming the barn doors and getting ready for the twister. And we did too. Everybody's like, yes. The legislature appropriated $150 million for the governor. Use it as you need it. She had her emergency powers. She declared a state of emergency. We were with her. We even voted to extend it, right? We were with her. We were there trying to help her, and we were helping her with some of those executive orders. Like, ooh, that one was a little weird. Let's fix this. And we were helping her. And then one day, I don't know if somebody in her office said, hey, governor, I think there is this 1945 law that you can screw with. I don't know. But then all of a sudden, bam-o, no talk. The legislature is all bad people. They don't care. They want you to die. They want you to get COVID, which is nothing but BS, right? This is something I've always said. We all want the same things. We may just have different paths to get there. So, were we in a state of emergency? Yes. Are we in a state of emergency today? No. What we are now is in a health crisis or health situation that needs to be managed. We're not in an emergency anymore. An emergency was when the hospitals were filling up and we didn't know what was going on. Well, we've been able to ease back a little bit and say, whew, okay, we're going. We've got the PPEs now, right? Before we didn't have PPEs. Now we've got them. We've settled things down. We're no longer in a state of emergency. We're managing a health situation. So we don't need all these executive orders. We can let people loose. Now, here's the thing. The Supreme Court rules that the governor was wrong in her interpretation. She acted unconstitutionally. So we're like, all right, let's work. So what's the governor immediately do? She sicks the Department of Health and Human Services with these executive orders. And then she goes, and this is the politics that's all a bunch of BS. She goes strutting over to the state capitol and sits down in her ornamental commemorative governor's office there. Ceremonial is the word I'm looking for. Ceremonial governor's office. And talks about how she's going to do this and do that. And where is the legislature? I'm here to work with them. Come on, Madam Governor. We were there all summer. We were there all spring, and you wouldn't talk to us. You built a spike fence between the two neighbors. So don't now start claiming, well, I'm here to talk and I'm here to work. Where are they? That's a crock. And we all know it. So that's a problem. So now where are we at with masks? This is one of those things that I believe, and I don't know exactly why. Somebody will say here, you know why? Because the governor is a blankety blank. I don't know why the governor chose to do some of the things she did. I can speculate, but I don't know. Masks. I've said it once. I've said it 1,000 times. You're never going to get 100% compliance. And where we were in February and March, people didn't know. We've now educated, right? We're no longer in an emergency. We're now managing. People get the deal. Now you see people that aren't wearing masks, they step 6 feet apart. Why? Because that's in our nature now. That's what we do. So you don't need to have the government telling you what to do. We got it. So here's what many of us say. The governor will refer to us as anti-maskers. No, we're folks who believe in liberty and choice. Masks should be recommended. Social distancing expected. Sanitizing, common sense, because we're dealing with a virus. We let people choose whether to wear a mask or not. Jack, no, we must tell everybody what to do. No, we don't. Everybody's not going to do it. Like I've said, you're never going to get 100% compliance. If you get 90 plus, you're doing great. And that's where we've been, even with the rules. So we recommend masks. We don't mandate them. We are prepared. I think we need to have regional discussion on this, not coming out of Lansing, the governor making these wild 191 executive orders. Let's let our counties decide what their county needs. If their county needs help, their county asks. It only makes sense. So let's see here. Is there anything else I wanted to mention in here? Yeah, I think we're just moving forward here. And my wife said it perfectly. She said, as screwed up as everything was, we at least had settled into some sort of routine in a time when we don't have routine and everything's screwed up. And I must say to the Supreme Court, you sure took your sweet time. I'll be honest. I'll be blunt. Somebody said the other day, Jack, you're pretty blunt. Yeah, I am. The Supreme Court sure could have figured this out months ago, but they didn't. So here we are. Just when we had stumbled into an odd normal, our normal is completely changed and everything's upheaved again. And we've got our governor out there slashing and banging and booming. The legislature, the Senate is in session this week. House will be in next week. We will work and attempt to work with our governor. And there's something very important when you hear in the next few days the governor calling us anti-maskers, the governor saying that we don't really care, we want people to die because we aren't making them wear a mask, or we're just being too loosey, too goosey, because we're just these terrible people and she's obviously the saint on the hill, Joan of Arc. BS. You listen to that. And when you hear that, I want you to remember this. Do you know what the Supreme Court what their two comments were on, the case that was involving? It wasn't about ours just saying that 45 was unconstitutional. That was the Supreme Court of the state of Michigan ruling on a case from health clinics saying that the governor's arbitrary and crazy rules that suspended medical procedures to protect for COVID was killing and costing lives. Remember that. So when I'm a terrible Republican because I want to give people a choice, recommending masks, but not mandating them, I'm a terrible guy because I want people to die from COVID. No. If that's the case, then the governor is a terrible person for setting up these rules that caused these doctors to have to sue because these doctors had patients who died because they couldn't get medical attention that they needed because those tests were pushed aside. So let's decide who's on the terrible scale there, okay? I would say our governor was being the hard-hearted one there. She threw the baby out with the bathwater. That's why we need balance in this approach. And I pray that the governor comes to her senses and allows the legislature to bring some balance to our proceedings. I believe we'll get there, even if we have to drag her kicking and screaming. So bear with us. I want to throw one more thing in here because it really burnt my britches. The President of the United States, I don't talk politics much here, but I will right now. The President of the United States got COVID. And what did he do? He comes home after 3 days. We all know he's still convalescing, but he stands out there and he gets criticized for something he said. And I thought, son of a gun, the guy's leading. Something I have not seen much from a certain chief executive in this state. Trying to lead all people when he said, don't be afraid of COVID. That became blasphemy. How could he say this? COVID? Don't be afraid of COVID. Don't let it dominate your life. Live life. Live life. Respectfully, safely, with precautions, because we are in a virus. He didn't say go up and French kiss everybody you see, lick your doorknob. He didn't say that, did he? No. He said don't let COVID ruin your life and scare you. That's what a leader is supposed to say. And I just remember, I'll leave you with this. Way back when, I chatted with a constituent of the 101st who had COVID. And I said, how was it? She said, wasn't a lot of fun, but I made it and I'm fine. I said, good. And I said, so are you worried? Where are you at with this? And she said, I do not, with the spirit God gave me, I do not live my life in fear. So I move forward. Ladies and gentlemen, I think that is something that needs to be heard. Yes, the elderly, the vulnerable need to be protected. The vast majority of us just need to not let COVID dominate our lives, but we need to be respectful that it's there. We need to manage moving forward. I think that's a pretty simple thing. And I think we can do that. I think our governor needs to back off and work with the legislature. And we can get through this. So don't live your life in fear. Don't let COVID dominate your life. Live life. It's short. Every day is precious. Live life, but be smart. I'll keep you in my prayers. I hope you keep me in yours. Pray for all our leaders, both state, local, and of course federal. Have a good evening. We'll talk again on Friday.